Hello and welcome to Makula. Today we're going to look at how you can set up preventive maintenance events or preventive maintenance alerts for assets so that you don't have to remember when a certain asset is due for service. To create a preventive maintenance event, go into the asset, go to PM events, and of course maybe when you first come in this will all be empty, but you can easily start creating an event. Give it a name. Let's say this is biannual service. Now the due date here is when the next biannual service is due. Now, let's say the next one is due 31st of December. And since it's biannual, this is not a one-time thing. You want it to repeat every 6 months, or you could say every, 6 months, or you could even change this, right? If this was like a quarterly kind of service, then you would say every 3 months, or if this was yearly, you would say every 1 year, or even every month if this is something that needs to be done every month. You can then also define when it should stop. Right now, we'll just say this needs to go on forever, but maybe we say for in some cases, you might say, oh, this needs to stop after 5 years, so after 10 occurrences. Now, what's most important here is these events or these alerts, they trigger work orders automatically in your system so that you don't have to remember when a certain asset's biannual service is due. But then, of course, you also perhaps need certain time or some time to prepare every time a work order of this type gets created for an asset. And let's say you need 10 days to prepare, right? So what you can define here is automatically create the work orders 10 days before the event, or say perhaps 2 weeks before the event. And what this will do is before the 31st of December, 2 weeks before the 31st of December is when this event will then trigger a work order automatically. Now, say every biannual service for this type of machine, you know certain procedures that need to be filled out by your engineers, you know certain parts that need to be switched out or replaced, then you can already attach those to this event so that when the work order gets triggered, the procedure is already attached and the parts are already attached to the work order, so your engineer knows what he needs to do and what he needs to take along for the service. Now we can simply, add those. Let's say we're adding a safety check and a component installation procedure. Plus we're saying maybe we need to change the bearing set and the control lever every time the biannual service for the Packmaster 100 gets triggered. Now you can create this event. As soon as you create it, it is shown over here. It shows you that it repeats every 6 months. The next maintenance is on the 31st of December, and it ends in 5 years on the 1st July 2031. Now, if you wanted a view of all preventive maintenance events that you've created across all your assets, you could simply go to Planned Events and see a list of all the events for the customer and the asset that they're for and when they're due. You can, of course, filter if you wanted to see everything for a particular asset, or you could also go into that asset to look at these. Now, what happens when these trigger? You have this hourglass icon. Work orders created with this hourglass icon is what tells you that this was a preventive maintenance event, unless, of course, you've set up a certain work order with the same icon. And when you go into these look like any other work order in the system. The only difference would be that these trigger automatically and they come pre-attached with the procedures and the parts that you specify. Another example of setting up a preventive maintenance event could be perhaps you want to remember or you want a reminder for when the warranty for a certain asset ends. And so that gives you an opportunity to reach out to your customer proactively and maybe ask them for an extension. Of course, there are many other use cases that you could use preventive maintenance for, but it differs from organization to organization. That's all for preventive maintenance events. If you're looking for help on any other items, feel free to check out our other videos. Thank you.